in the blue corner, wearing black, officially weighing in with 768,000 followers across all platforms in only 3 years. His professional career includes collaborations with Sony, EA, Capcom, Blizzard, and Xbox, to name a few. He's a family man, a gamer, and TikTok's #1 source for all things gaming. John Blue Thunder Hopper! Give it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Hell of an intro. Hell of an intro.
A little bit of a homage there. A little bit of a homage. Dude, thank you so much for being on FTW, man. It means a lot.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Well, let's get into it. I thought it'd be cool to kind of find out a little bit about you, because I don't really know you. I've watched from afar for the last couple of years and seen you grow and evolve. But who is Blue Thunder? What was your childhood like, family like?
Sure. Born in Detroit, Michigan. Excuse me. Parents got divorced. I moved to Phoenix. Grew up in like a middle-class home out here in Phoenix. Spent a lot of summers in Detroit visiting my dad. Video games were always a big fixture. I had the Turbo Graphics. I don't know if anybody's heard of the Turbo Graphics. I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, perfect. So many people are like, no, never heard of that. Had the Turbo Graphics, played games like, I still remember like Legendary Axe was a big game for that system. That's my earliest gaming memories were on that. I even had the handheld. It was basically like, it looked a lot like Sega Game Gear.
Yeah.
But I had that thing.
Turbo Express, good old Turbo Express. I think
yeah,
awesome.
the game cartridges looked like playing cards. It's so weird. But yeah, and then I've just always been very much into video games. I went to ASU, got into nonprofit, spent 10 years at a director level in the nonprofit field. And then I just started making content. I had a friend who's like, hey, dude, I stream on Twitch and I make like $60 a month extra doing that. And I was like, damn, $60 a month. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So I already had like a lot of this room. Like, obviously I didn't have the Blue Thunder stuff, but I had the shelf here, the lights. I had all this really already just because I wanted to build a cool gaming room. So I was like, I already have the room to be a streamer. Let's just do it. And so I did it. It took off quickly. Hit Twitch partner in under 6 months. Really consumed me. Go by Blue Thunder because my pops actually passed away in May of 2020. So he was a professional boxer, and his name was Blue Thunder. So I adopted his boxing name, and I know he would think all this shit's so cool, like the sign and so you know I kind of credit a little bit of that kind of magical essence of taking that name to my kind of pretty wild success in such a short period of time that I'm super grateful for. But streamed on Twitch for about a year, and then I got signed to the New York Subliners as a content creator, and I make Call of Duty content for them. I was kind of blowing up on Call of Duty content, which is what got their attention, but since I was started to make content for them for Call of Duty, I stopped making Call of Duty content on my personal page because just too much.
Yeah.
And I moved into the gaming, which was the best thing I could have done. And that was a year ago is when I first started doing the gaming content. Since then, I quit streaming because just financially, it made a lot more sense to just focus on content. And I don't really love the streaming culture very much for a billion different reasons. I could go on for hours. And
it's another episode. We'll do another episode.
Yeah. And then I quit my full-time job of 10 years in August, and everything's going really well.
That's great, man. You love to see it.
So I know you said 3 years, but I've only been making this kind of gaming content for a year. And then 2 years I've been making TikToks for 2 years. Gaming content's really only been a year, so it's been crazy.
Right. Okay. Nice, dude. It's amazing. Circling back to your dad for a minute. So I was doing some research, just to kind of get to know you and like, who is this guy? And I actually came across a boxing match of your dad. And it was the coolest thing, man, because he was at
Madison Square Garden,
MSG Felt Forum, And I ended up sitting on my couch last night watching about an hour of your dad boxing.
Damn, dude, you're gonna make me tear up.
I'm not trying to,
No,
but this is what stuck out to me, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I think the name is sick. I think the origin is really awesome. And I was watching him box, and this is what stood out to me. One, he was like totally fearless. So the way he just like approached his opponent, it was the Chris Reed match. And he just he was just like not even bothered by this guy. And super gritty, right? 10 rounds. Both matches I watched, he went 10 rounds. And what really stuck out to me the most was he's a total underdog. The people in New York were just like totally rooting against him. Like they're like, Vince was his name, right? I want to get that right. They're like, Vince Hopper, and you hear like a couple cheers, maybe some boos, and then Chris Reed, wow! And I'm like, this dude is an underdog, totally underdog. Same with the other match, but he like went all 10 rounds. One was a split decision, and I just thought that's a really interesting. Like it's interesting that he is just this fearless, gritty underdog and just went out there and did his thing. And even in the interview, they're like, what's your plan? And he's like, to go out there and win. And my question for you is like, in your own life and in this content creation journey, how much of like that spirit, right, of that gritty, fearless underdog that your dad had, do you see that like in your own journey outworking now that you're like, oh my gosh, like I am so much like my father in this way? Do you see that a lot, or was that more of a him thing?
No, I mean 100%. I feel like I have like self-esteem issues that I balance by trying to be like the best at anything I get involved in. So if I can be the best and I can blow up on and take this content thing crazy, especially when like my real life friends laughed at it and just thought it was such a silly idea when I said I want to do this as a career, that motivates me to just really be the best. And I'm never kind of ever happy with where I'm at, which is a blessing and a curse, like I'm never satisfied or, so 100%. 100%. That's a funny parallel. I appreciate that story a lot, dude.
Yeah, no, it was sick watching him do his thing in 10 rounds, and the other dude was tapped. Like Chris Reed was tapped. Your dad was like, all right, like I'm pretty good. You could tell his cardio was on point.
He always used to say growing up, because I think that match was a draw, right?
Yeah.
He always used to say, I'll make him bleed and plead like Chris Reed.
Yeah, because he had two cuts. Chris Reed got a cut here and a cut here. He had him just bleeding. And my favorite part of the match was like, I don't know, round 5, he had him like cut here. Or no, it was the first cut like on the left eye. And they patch him up in between rounds. And like immediately Chris Reed come out, start of the round 6. Your dad just jabs the eye. Boom. And the announcer's like, all right, well, there goes the eye again. Just like he just went for the bleeding eye just straight away. Boom. I want to take you back for a second. It's December 30th, 2021. And you are taking a video of your game room there that I think you're maybe in right now. And you got your PS5 and your 3 monitors and your webcam, and you say, after many years, my gaming setup is complete. Time to stream on Twitch. What was life like for you in that moment? And did you see back then in December 2021 the future that you're living in now with, hundreds of thousands of followers and brand deals and content and things, great momentum moving in your direction?
No, and I'm really glad you didn't bring up the sympathy TikTok I posted.
Oh no,
like
I didn't even see it.
Before that or right after that. It got me like 400 Twitch followers, and I thought I was famous.
Yes,
I felt you've seen those dang TikToks, right?
No one follows me. I stream to nobody. Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Early on, I made some mistakes, but anyways, No, man, that was when I just was like really happy with my setup and just couldn't wait to get a couple people watching me play video games just like anybody.
Sure.
Yeah, that was all that was. Yeah, those early days were magical, man. That feeling of having like just one other person jump in was so cool. Yeah, it was crazy. But then once like I had my first person who came in and like dropped 25 subs. And
Nice.
that's when I saw the potential, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm going full-fledged with this thing. I still remember it. It was on Rebirth Island. I was dropping off a prison, and this dude just drops 25 subs. It was a crazy moment.
That's so sick. Your streams were always so so interactive and super fun, and you could tell you were just like putting so much time and energy and effort to make them an experience for people. Yeah.
That's also why I stopped, because it's just too much, and I can't be like half in on something,
Yeah. Did you
I'm sure
feel
you guys
like
can all relate to that doing this podcast? Like if you're not fully committed to something, it doesn't feel worth your time.
Yeah. 100%. Switching gears, the stream event you did with Dane Cook. What's the story behind that? And how did that, what's the story?
Yeah, another crazy thing. So I was looking at his TikTok, and he had he was following like 60 people. And I went to follow him, and it said follow back. And I was like, wait, what?
Nice.
So I looked at his follower list, and I'm like, dude, this guy's following 60 people, and I'm one of them. That's crazy. So I DM, and I'm not just saying this because I'm friends with Dane Cook. I literally did grow up on his stuff, like Harmful of Swallowed. I'm sure. How old are you guys?
We're in our 30s.
30.
Yeah,
we'll just say we're in our 30s.
Okay. Yeah, I'm 34. So like Harmful of Swallowed, that was my introduction to comedy, man. Vicious Circle, all that stuff I was just absolutely obsessed. So I DM him, let him know, hey man, saw you were following. I'm a big fan. That's pretty much it. And he responded, and we got to talking, and then we chopped it up a few times about just like kind of gaming, and he was looking to start streaming. And then he invited me to his TikTok live once, and we chatted on there for a while, which was crazy. And then we've just kept in touch. I have his I have his personal number. We keep in touch. We chat, and
cool.
He invited me to his show he had in Phoenix. I think it was last month, and had me backstage, and we kicked it for a little while and talked, and it was cool, man. And he's still it was a big theater. The entire theater was sold out, so it's cool to still see him be able to pull those numbers this long into the game.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, I remember my buddy had his CD, and I don't remember which one it was, but literally every time we were in the car, just put on the Dane Cook CD, and we would just laugh our heads off and listen to it all the time. He had a chokehold like on that generation for like stand-up
100%.
comedy. And I think it's easy to look back now and be like, oh, some of it's like, we use the word cringy, or it's like not as funny, but it's like, no, like he had his like hand on the pulse of what was funny for a very long time. And it was, it is freaking, he's one of the OGs, man, for sure.
Yep. One of the, second guy to ever sell out second comedian to ever sell out Madison Square Garden. He has some crazy highest selling comedy album of all time, like number 2, I think. It's pretty
crazy.
Wild.
That's crazy. Starfield showcase this past June. I saw a picture on X where you went to a private event and you met head of Xbox, Phil Spencer. I'm just curious because we talk about Xbox news every week here, and I'm curious, what was that conversation with Phil like? How did that come about? Give us some insight into who is P3, man, because I don't, we're a few years off from actually having him on the podcast. So, how was that? How did that come about? What was your conversation with Phil?
Sure, yeah. So I went to the Xbox Mixer, which is like a private kind of cocktail party before some of their bigger events. I just went to the one in before the Game Awards as well.
I thought they shut Mixer down.
Yeah.
So many people bring that up.
Yeah.
Because it's the same dang company, right?
Yeah.
Before that was before my streaming days. But so I met Phil, I met Todd Howard, talked with them a little bit. I'm always, when I meet somebody at that level, I'm very brief, man. Like, I'm not going to try to network with them. I'm not going to try to ask them or try to sell myself. Like, I've seen creators approach massive people in the industry and use it as a moment to try to promote themselves. And it is so wildly inappropriate and just kind of delusional. So, no, it was a very brief thing, man. It was just, hey, Phil, love everything you've done for Xbox. And that was really the extent of it.
Yeah.
But very nice guy, stayed for pictures, very casual guy, he's wearing his leather jacket with like probably an Xbox shirt underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And same with Todd. Todd was also really nice, really pleasant, but someone else I was very short with.
Yeah. Based. Yeah. That's I feel like that's the only answer.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I did shoot my shot though at Neil Druckmann. You know Neil Druckmann?
No, I do not. Who's that?
He's the guy who created The Last of Us.
Oh, which I know you're a huge fan of. Yeah. What was your shot with him?
Massive fan, and I just had to because that's Last of Us is my favorite form of media, period. It is the greatest thing to me. So I saw him at an after party, Game Awards after party. I'm like, holy shit, that's Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
So I went up to him, introduced myself, let him know I'm a big fan, and then just asked, I was just like, do you guys do anything with TikTok creators? And it's like, Neil's not going to know the answer to that question.
Right, correct.
He's purely the creative guy, man. He's not going to have a single idea. So he did introduce me to somebody at Naughty Dog who was standing right next to him. And then I got ghosted on the subsequent email. So
Love that.
We tried.
Yeah. In due time.
Yeah.
I love it.
But that was cool. That was really cool. If you haven't played The Last of Us, man.
So it's on my list. I actually don't have a PlayStation, but it's
PC?
on
Last of Us on PC?
Oh yeah, I could do that. It's on my list for sure.
I haven't played the second one, but the first one is probably like the best story, like narrative story.
Yeah.
I love the ending of the game so much.
Yeah.
Like whenever I watch movies or play games, I want them to like take a risk like that with an ending, and so few ever actually do. But to me, that's perfect.
Did you have? I couldn't agree more. Did you have number 2 spoiled for you?
I had some of the bigger things that kind of happened earlier in the game spoiled for me.
So
that kind of like pushed me off a little bit. I was like, oh, I don't have that urge to play it right away. So I haven't played 2 yet.
Dude, I had that spoiled for me on Twitter before I could play the game, like before the game even came out. Because I don't know if you all remember, Naughty Dog got hacked, and the entire, every cutscene from that game got leaked. And so there's something big that happens, and someone just posted an image of it happening with all caps, blah, 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 blah. It was completely unavoidable, and I was so upset.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
But you mentioned taking risks, even outside of that, which is obviously a huge risk. 2 takes some massive risks, man, with what they make you do in that game. I highly encourage you to jump in.
Yeah, I know enough about it to know the brutality of it all gets ramped up quite a bit compared to the first one.
Yeah.
Oof, now you're making me want to play, man. I want to play video games right now.
Dude, so good.
Before we get into some news, we'll finish this up because I have like 10 more questions, but I want to get to some news things, and maybe we can do this another time or elaborate.
Sure.
But what's Blue Thunder? What's your end goal with all of this? What do you hope to accomplish? Where do you hope to be? I don't know, 10 years, from now. What are you looking at down the line? You say, my family and me, like, this is what I want to have to give and leave? Like, where's your head at with this content stuff? Because it's endless. You could go any direction, do anything. Where's your head at?
Yeah, that's a good question. A good friend of mine who's also in content, who happens to live here, so we meet for coffee pretty often, asked me about that. And I didn't really have an answer for him. And I think the reason for that is everything's just been like progressing and moving so quickly that I haven't had really time to adjust and assess what's next. And I always say this all with the most humility. It's just the facts of the matter. Like, I wanted to work. There was a list of brands I wanted to work with, list of games I wanted to work with. And I've worked with all of them in less than a year. Bethesda, Capcom, EA, Ubisoft, everybody. So that was really my goal. I wanted to like work with some of these studios, and I've done it. So I know there needs to be a next step. I can't just do like making content like this isn't sustainable, especially if it's only short form that I depend on. So, of course, having a long form YouTube channel would be a dream one day, but I've tried it and it's so hard.
It's very hard.
It's such a time sink.
It's very hard. Very
hard. Yep, preaching to the choir here. I put a lot of effort into some Starfield videos that just didn't do well. So that was kind of my defeating moment, at least for now. I'd love to start some sort of online platform that helps creators in some way. I think that would be the best like long form or long-term play for long-term sustainable income. But I don't know, man. I'm still trying to figure it out.
That's fair. Okay, we're going to do a rapid fire round, and then we're going to get into some news. So I'm going to shoot quick questions your way, and you can give one word, couple word answers to them. First thing that comes to your mind. Cool?
Awesome. Yep.
All right, here we go. Dream streamer content creator collab.
Dr. Disrespect.
Starfield or Fallout?
Oh my god. Fallout.
Favorite game of 2023?
Ooh. Favorite game of 2023 would probably be Spider-Man 2 or Alan Wake 2.
Most disappointing game of 2023?
The Day Before. No, that doesn't count because that game I knew was bullshit. Most disappointing game, I would say Starfield, but I still think that game is phenomenal.
Fair enough.
I'll leave it at that.
Most underrated game of 2023?
Most underrated game of 2023. Lies of P.
Biggest snub for the Game Awards?
Probably Spider-Man 2 not getting a single thing.
Nick Merckx or Ninja?
Ninja.
Doc or Tim the Tatman?
Doc. Easy.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. No offense, Xbox, because we have a great relationship.
Favorite movie of all time?
Oh, God. Should I give the politically correct answer? Holy hell.
Give your answer.
I'll say... You know what? No, I'll say Alien.
Favorite band?
And the Matrix.
Ooh, yeah.
Favorite band, 9 Inch Nails.
Childhood celebrity crush?
Probably Jessica Alba or Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Boxing or UFC?
I have to say boxing, but I'm a massive UFC fan, and yeah, leave it at that.
One word about how you feel about the future of video games.
Excited. I'll keep it simple.
Excited. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Blue Thunder. Appreciate you.